Good afternoon. Welcome to home. I'm actually home this week, so I'm not at work on a Saturday. It's my 3-day weekend, and I'm sort of going to make the most of the time relaxing. Really, I'm not intending to do anything because it's actually been quite a debilitating week. We've had temperatures in the 40s. I mean, it's been baking hot, and that's the majority of the week. It's been in that sort of range. Um, it isn't a problem working per se. I mean, we've got aircon at work as much as we've got aircon at home. But when you get to a certain temperature, it just gives up the ghost. It does not work. So you literally swelter. There's been a bit of humidity around this week as well, so it's not been the dry heat that it usually is. Sleeping, it's just become impossible. So, most days I'm sort of surviving on, 4 or 5 hours a night. Now, the other half, he's sleeping in the other room, and I literally cannot have a fan on. I cannot have that fan on next to my head all night. It's sort of, it's either heat or sound, and one or the other is going to keep me awake. But I'd rather be hot than have a fan sort of blowing hot air around my head, noisy, even with earplugs in. It's absolutely horrendous. So, no. So he's been sleeping with the fan in one room and I've been in the other room, which is, it's fine. At least we get some sleep, because to be honest with you, I don't think we get any. I mean, the other day, I literally got in from work and I was so tired through lack of sleep, I just literally passed out probably by sort of 8:15. And yeah, I just slept all the way through, which was lovely. I haven't done that in many years. I am a complete, total and utter insomniac. That really does not change. So, I might be getting an extra hour or two here and there, but as it goes, I'm an insomniac. God knows when that goes back to, because I remember as a child, in fact, I remember having a conversation with Mum, actually. It was one of sort of the last conversations we had while she was alive, and she was saying how much I used to love my bed, and how as a teenager I would stay in bed till like midday, and how times change. It just does not happen now. I get up at 4:30. I am awake at 4:30, and in Australia that's actually probably preferable, because it's the nicest time of day. It's lovely. It's cool. You can have the doors open and the breeze coming through, and it's lovely. So, the arm, you can see I've got my brace off today. I'm trying to keep it off as much as possible now. It's it's probably nearly there. I did have a phone call from the hospital again the other day. He told me to, keep the brace off more and more, watch myself. I mean, obviously I'm still lifting heavy boxes and stuff, but as long as I wear the brace, it's fine. But to be honest, that wrist brace is probably causing more pain now, because it's constricting my hand and wrist too much. So I need to start getting those hand exercises in and getting it back to the way it was. I have to do 3 exercises. So I've got one where you start off with the clenched fist, open it up, move your hand back, move your thumb forward, turn it, and then push your thumb back. I've got to do that 10 times. I've got to do the finger exercises 10 times, and I've got to do that 10 times, about 3 or 4 times a day. And it does hurt. It hurts, especially down here. Now, I know there's all sorts of things going on with it. I'm well aware of that. And in time, hopefully it will sort itself out, or not really. I haven't got age on my side as such, so that's a bit difficult. But I'm keeping other aspects of my life very fit and healthy. So I'm walking every single day now. I mean, over the last few months, I've taken my eye off the ball a little bit, and especially on the weekends, I just was not walking at all. I was just vegetating, eating, drinking beer, and all those things that, you know, we love to do. But now I'm eating even more healthy, and I'm doing at least 10,000 steps a day. I mean, what have I done so far today? Do you know, I can't even see. I can't see without my glasses. It shows how old I am. Where am I? Okay, so I've done 8,500 steps so far. And that was this morning. Even today, when it's been raining, yes, it's actually been raining, I was out walking. I sort of walked in between showers. But the humidity, my God, it is absolutely horrendous as well today. So you can see the steam coming off the ground, which is quite bizarre. The last time I saw that was probably Bangkok, but mainly in Malaysia actually. You know, they used to have those sudden downpours and then it would just evaporate and you just see this sort of vapour, steam. Is it still raining? Yes, it's still raining outside. So this has been quite long actually. It's been all morning. So that's quite a lot for Australia. So there we go. I've been following my aunt as well. So she's been in Australia visiting cousin Phoebe, who's over in Sydney. So my aunt's on a world cruise at the moment. And lucky her. I'd love to be on a world cruise, I'll tell you. So she's been in Sydney briefly. And I could see that she visited Phoebe. And not sure where she's going next. I think she's probably doing the rest of Australia. Not sure. She's not coming this side. You know, unfortunately, most cruise liners don't come to Perth. Perth it's a strange place. It is very, very isolated. It's, as I've said before, it's the most isolated state in the world. And Perth is the most isolated capital city in the world. Now, I remember when all the COVID madness was going on, my husband was sort of telling me that there was a big call here for West Australian independence, and they wanted to call themselves Westralia. They're very, this is probably the wrong word, but they are quite nationalistic over here, and they are very proud of their West Australian heritage, which is, it's nice to see in one way, but in others, I think in the UK it would be, you know, quite concerning. But you know, this is Australia. This is the back of beyond of Australia, unless you're in the middle of the outback. You know, this is extreme. This is different. This is very different. You know, Sydney, Melbourne, you know, you've got the big suburbs and the two big cities. You've got Adelaide at the bottom, you've got Brisbane at the top. So in that sort of the eastern half, there's quite a lot going on. But when you come over to the west, nothing much happens. Nothing at all. I've been following the news, obviously, so I've been following the UK news this week quite a lot. Good to see King Charles up and about. That was concerning. I haven't actually spoke on the blog about that, but you know, he's a lucky man in many respects to get the treatment he's getting so quickly. You know, there are a lot of other people who cannot get cancer treatment, you know, for several months. So, you know, he's hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be okay. I think, I mean, when I've seen him, when he was meeting your Ghastly Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and he seemed quite emotional, more emotional than what you would imagine a member of the royal family being. And I think cancer's probably hit him quite hard. You know, he's just become king, and now he's got to deal with cancer. To be honest with you, all of us will have to deal with it at some stage. And as I say, somebody like me with health anxiety, it's the it's the top of my priority list, if you like. I'm constantly bodily aware, and I constantly check myself in every direction. And I have had concerns, and I still have concerns, and I go to the doctor, and I pay to see the doctor, and I'm of an age now where I think that's important. And the older you get, the more care you should certainly be taking of your body, and that's what I am trying to do. I've also seen lots of other news. So the European news, the war in Europe, the Ukrainian war, 2 years old, I believe, and I remember when it sort of started and how awful that was, and how that awful madman is still in charge in Russia. And I sometimes think the Russians have really, really got to grow a pair, and they've really got to get rid of that person. They know deep down how bad he is. He's just murdered Navalny, his opponent, and what normal, sane person does that? He is insane. Now the Russian people do know that. I mean, traditionally Russians have always put up with the the dictators of the world, whether it be the Tsar or other USSR dictators thereafter, and now him. But really the world is so unsafe because of that country, that man. I don't know much about Russians themselves, but that man is just an absolute nightmare. And he needs to be gone. He really does need to be gone. Spiders, snakes. I don't know if I mentioned it last time actually, but we had a dugite in the shop. I think it was last week. Only a little baby one. Lady snake catcher caught it, got it out, and he was gone. Highly dangerous, highly venomous. Could cause death. I have had a redback the other day, so I whacked that to within an inch of its life. So it's quite odd because I've had to grow a pair living in Australia because I am constantly, this sounds so dramatic, but I am gay, so whatever. I'm constantly under threat from the wildlife. We all are. Whether it be snakes, spiders, or the fires that go on quite regularly. We're all under threat from Australian life. The redback was a goner. The snake was released somewhere. Luckily, he wasn't decapitated as the last one was, by accident, of course. So yes, Australian wildlife is just out of this world, really. So anyway, this is going to be my vlog this week. I was thinking about sitting down and doing some writing, but with this off now, I need to give it a rest as is. And as I said, I'm still saving up for the doing more writing when I sort of hit Vietnam in a few weeks. So I'm still saving up for that. So until then, it will be a blog. Oh, by the way, with my aunt and my uncle travelling around the world, they've got a blog you can follow on Instagram, and it's called Overs Are Out. So it's about their trip around the world. They love their cruises anyway, but it's about their trip around the world. And you can follow that and all the weird and wonderful places they're visiting. As I say, I'm very jealous. And, I hope to see them at some stage myself, whether it be here or back in the UK. Anyway, whatever you're doing, rain or shine, have a lovely weekend. And as ever, good to talk to you. Ciao.